off. Something set it off, dude. Oh my god.
Oh, there it goes.
What's going on, Raiders? Airwingmarine here. You just watched the Arc Raiders Queen get one-shotted by a trap. This is the Blaze Grenade trap exploit, and for now it's the easiest way to kill what is supposed to be the most difficult content in the game. But the story here is a little more complicated than you might think. Developers have tried to patch this, and they partially succeeded, but the Queen, she's still vulnerable. So today we're going to break down how this works, why it's still in the game, and problem it's causing for the community. So let's get right into it. How does this exploit work? The concept is simple. Either find or craft a Blaze Grenade trap, run under the Queen, attach it to her belly, set it off, and just watch the fireworks. The result is a single massive damage instance that bypasses pretty much her entire health bar. Now, to be clear, the developers know about this. The rumor mill says they tried to patch it, but we never saw an update and I haven't seen any official communication about that, so I don't know where that came from. This could be something they could fix server side and we wouldn't see a patch on our client, or just a product of this whole process isn't super consistent and people were just getting unlucky and assumed it was patched. Both of those are possible. Now, I actually came across this exploit last week with a Leaper and a Bastion, but I didn't even realize it. In separate raids on completely different instances, I had found blaze traps, set them down, and lured one of the bigger bots into them. I was honestly just screwing around and just testing it out, and it ended up killing both of them. I was confused, but didn't think much of it, grabbed my loot, and got out of raid. But today when I saw this on the Queen, it all kind of made sense. Now, after they supposedly patched it, I tried this again on a Leaper and a Bombardier, and it did not kill them. Now, it did between 450 and 650 damage to each of them, so it is still hurting them, but it's not enough to kill them. However, when we tried it on the Queen, it is still working, though not consistently. We had the traps fall off, we had them trigger and not really do that much damage to her. The one try we did get her killed, it took 2 traps to get her down. But the first one did nearly 18,000 damage to her, the first Blaze Grenade trap, and that's according to the end screen. You can see that information if you didn't know that. And on top of that, we've seen tons of clips of other people successfully doing this since they supposedly patched it. So there's that. So the big question is, why is the Queen? Well, some of you who've been around here know what time it is. It's time to head into MS Paint and draw with crayons to show you guys how, at least I think, what's going on here. All right, so here's MS Paint. I'm going to use this to kind of describe what I think is going on here. Now, when you look at a Queen, she has an enormous number of hitboxes. The armor here has a hitbox. The core of her leg has a hitbox. The joint has a hitbox. You have more armor hitboxes. You have more core hitboxes. You know, her armor up here is a hitbox, can break off. I believe the bottom can too. The inside is a hitbox. You know, there's probably a hitbox here. The top of her head, I'm going to draw it here, but when her core comes out as a hitbox, this is probably a hitbox on this joint. Each of these joints has a hitbox. Then you have the bottom, and this could be broken into 2 or 3 hitboxes. And then it, you know, just goes on and on for all of these legs and joints and pieces, and you know, top and bottom. And I don't know if these things have hitboxes, and or if her eye does, or if this dingleberry does. I don't know, but there's a lot of hitboxes on it, right? And when you come up and you attach a Blaze Grenade, that thing does an area effect damage, right? So most people are attaching it to underside her right here. So you attach this Blaze Grenade, and when it goes off, you know, it's damaging in, I don't know why I'm doing it with that, in many, many directions, right? And it's catching this part on fire. I'll go to orange so it's easier to see. You're catching this part on fire, here, maybe some of here, there. You know, all of this stuff is catching fire damage. And from what we've been able to determine through testing, if you will, she has 20, well, we're going to say 24,000. It's between 23 and 24,000 hit points total. Like, this is how much damage you do to her when you kill her. Now, that being said, that's her overall health pool. Each of these points, her legs specifically, those have their own hit points as well. And we'll just say, I don't know what they are. We haven't tested this, but let's just say for discussion, they're 2,000, right? So when you do 2,000 damage to one of these legs, it pops off, breaks, it stuns her for a little bit. Now, in a theoretical sense, if that's all you did, if you managed to just shoot her leg and damage her leg, her overall health pool would go down to 22,000. This is how we theorize that it works. There could be more complexities to it. There could be a modifier, but it's just kind of how we think this whole process works with all the Arc. And this applies to Bastions and Leapers and some of the and Rocketeers and all the Arc that have complex parts. Now, when this blaze grenade goes off, what I think is happening is all of these parts, instead of doing damage, one tick of damage to the overall health pool, it's stacking all of these damages and in some way multiplying it. Because if you go look at a blaze grenade, of the trap specifically, it does 10 damage a second for 5 seconds, I believe. Why can't I find it? Oh, there, right here. Here we go. 5 damage a second for 10 seconds. So figure 50 damage, right? Now, we know they do more than that because there's something how the damage stacks. As each tick happens, it stacks again in the blaze. Like if you run out of the blaze and run back into it, you know, you catch on fire again, all that kind of stuff, right? The exact mechanics, I'm not sure how it works. But when it comes to the queen, that damage is just stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking. And like I said, we had one blaze grenade that did almost 18,000 damage to her. And that's obviously a problem. That's not intended design. I think fire grenades are great. They ignore armor. They should be used to really devastate arc. But being able to throw a trap on her underside and nuke her with one shot with a very cheap thing, that's not good. Now, the patch that was designed to this probably didn't figure it out. It obviously didn't fix whatever the problem was, whether it's what I'm talking about or something completely different. So there's some kind of calculation overflow or something going on here. So one question a lot of people are going to ask is, who cares? It's just a game, right? Well, it matters a lot because it fundamentally breaks the game's core loop. The queen is supposed to be the pinnacle boss fight of everybody's playthrough, if you will. It's the final exam. It's the hardest thing you can do. It's designed to test your resources, your coordination, your planning, and your skill. This exploit turns that final exam into a 10-second joke. Now, it has two major negative effects. First, it ruins the experience for anyone on the map actually trying to experience the queen engagement legitimately. There are people that are loading up, you know, they're filling their inventory full of a hole cracker and all the ammo you need, heals, wolf packs, you know, guns to fight players, a raid, probably not a raider, maybe a raider hash key, you know, all sorts of stuff like that costs a lot of money and effort to put together. And they load onto the map, and let's say they've got a far spawn. They're running for the queen, and she just explodes because some dingleberry who has a free kit and spawned right next to her is able to run underneath, plant that grenade, kill her, loot, and run off before those guys even get there. And that's just not cool. That's just, it's not a fun thing for the game to have. Now, I understand people can have enjoyment in killing the queen like this. They get to experience something new. I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm just saying it's not good for the game. The other problem is this process trivializes the progression and the loot. When you can farm the final boss with almost zero effort, it completely shortcuts the entire reason to play the game, to get stronger and to earn better gear. None of that matters. It's just not healthy for the long-term life of the game. That's why I think it needs to be fixed quickly and aggressively. So what's some solutions? Well, obviously the easy one is fix the hitboxes or fix the problem, whatever it is. That's pretty obvious. But those fixes aren't always straightforward or simple. So it might take some time to get this figured out. A simpler and immediate fix is to remove or disable blaze grenade traps till they can get patched. Pull them out of the loot pool and make it so you can't craft them. You can still craft blaze grenades, leave those in. Those don't have this problem. It's just the traps for some reason. And they'll very quickly run out. They're not going to be in the map anymore. You know, you don't have to worry about more of them showing up and people using them. There's no blueprints, so you don't have to, the craft is only available through the traveling tinkerer skill, which is like 17 points deep into the survival tree. So no blueprints, all of that stuff. It's easy to get rid of the craft. And this means they won't be widely missed. They do get used, but they're kind of obscure. A lot of people just sell them or salvage them. They're not using them that much. So they're not going to be missed for a few days or maybe a week as they fix the problem. Now, another option is to simply remove the harvester event altogether. But I think that's a far more extreme solution than tinkering with the blaze grenades, and probably one, in my opinion, that might not be worth it. I don't know. Either way, the developers have options, but it's clear if there was a patch, the first one wasn't enough. But that's just my take on this whole queen exploit. It's a tricky problem, and it's one that I think needs a high priority fix to protect the integrity of the boss fight experience. What do you guys all think? Have you seen this in your games? Do you have another theory on why it's still happening? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Now, if you found this video informative, do me a solid, hit that like button and subscribe for more Arc Raiders content, because it tells YouTube you want to see it, and it helps push it to other people. If you want to help out the most, one of the best things you can do is share the video with a friend or a group of friends in your Discord or whatever. YouTube, for some reason, loves that. So share it with them to help them explain to what's going on. As always, you guys can catch me streaming on Twitch and YouTube most weekdays, or follow daily, hourly conversations over on Twitter if you like the more raw and direct version of my content. Links for all of that are down below. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate having you here. Good luck topside, and as always, we'll see you in Speranza.